Hey guys, it's me, Rich. Your university degree might be turning you into a radical, and the scary part is you'd never even know it. What you're about to discover is how American campuses have quietly become assembly lines for political extremism, and how that indoctrination pipeline may be directly connected to the rise of political violence that we're watching unfold in real time across the United States. We'll look at the man who allegedly tried to assassinate a sitting president, unpack the Marxist ideology being handed to 19-year-olds in lecture halls, and ask the question nobody in media wants to ask. Is your college campus producing scholars or radicalized ideologues? But what you'll find out if you stick with me to the end of this video is that consequences of this indoctrination aren't just theoretical anymore. Let's get into it. All right, guys, welcome back to RPW Media, where we read the news and tell you what we really think and refuse to pretend that any of this is normal. Look, if you like our videos already and you haven't done so, you should become a subscriber to the channel. Hit the notification bell, smack the like button, because it helps us get our message out to more people, and you get notified every time we put out a new video. And thank you very much. All right, nobody in media wants to say this plainly, so I'm just going to say it plainly. Many of our universities, the ones your kids are spending $40,000 a year on, are turning out young people who are unmoored, angry, and dangerously detached from reality. They are fueling a culture that rewards extremism, sneers at sanity, and teaches students to view their country not as something to improve, but as something to hate. And what I'm about to show you suggests that the body count from that ideology may already be climbing. Now, I know that sounds dramatic, but let's talk about what's been happening. Monday night, the White House has reportedly been put on lockdown after gunfire was heard nearby. According to multiple reports, shots were fired near the White House at 15th and Independence. Newsmax chief Washington correspondent James Rosen wrote about it on X. The United States Secret Service was reportedly locking down press office and other locations. Now, that came just days after another disturbing incident. The man charged with attempting to assassinate President Trump last week is named Cole Tomas Allen. And here's where it gets real interesting. On paper, this guy had everything going for him. He held a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. He was working toward a master's degree in IT. He worked as a part-time tutor, and he was named Teacher of the Month in December of 2024. That is a remarkable resume for someone now accused of deciding that murdering the President of the United States was the next logical step. So what is really happening on these college campuses? Look, here's the context that most commentators conveniently skip. For generations, American universities were rooted in a Christian tradition that sought truth through moral reasoning, disciplined inquiry, and the formation of character. Education was not just about providing clever people. It was about producing wise people who would go on to do good for the world. And think about this: Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Columbia, the University of Pennsylvania, Brown, and Dartmouth, and more. They were all began as Christian foundations. That history matters because it shows what higher education was supposed to be. And that foundation today has largely disappeared. In its place, many campuses now promote forms of communist-inspired thinking that train students to interpret society as one endless struggle between the oppressors and the oppressed. Every institution becomes suspect at that point. Every disagreement becomes abuse. Every tradition becomes a threat. Now, in the early 1980s, former KGB agent Yuri Bezmenov warned us of exactly what the Soviet Union was doing to bring us to this point where we are today. And the terrifying thing, he was right about almost all of it. If you haven't seen his interviews, look them up. He laid out the entire playbook: demoralization, destabilization, crisis, decades before we were living it. And he actually predicted where we would be. That kind of worldview on college campuses does not produce curious scholars. It produces angry ideologues who are convinced that the entire system is corrupt beyond repair. And the consequences are not theoretical. They don't stay in their own lane. They go after people who are just trying to live their lives. who are just trying to raise their children, work their job, and live a happy life. Because these people were taught by universities that that is just all wrong, that they're evil people. That's what's going on. You can't change their minds at this point either. When young people are taught again and again and again that America is illegitimate, unjust, and must be dismantled, eventually, some of them actually believe it. Most will not become violent, of course, but some will take that message exactly where radical leftist ideology has always taken people. The evidence is already piling up. In the 2020 St. George Floyd BLM riots, I mean, the public celebration by radicals after Charlie Kirk's execution, within minutes of reports of the shooter at the Correspondents' Dinner last week, leftists went online to complain that the shooter didn't have better aim. New York City campus activists were peddling propaganda straight from Hamas, encouraging violence against Jews. This was in the USA, not Nazi Germany. In a word, the left has gone nuts, thanks to Marxist indoctrination centers we call universities. Now, some commentators will insist that this is on both sides. It's a both sides problem because that sounds responsible for a news guy, but it doesn't hold up. Conservatism at its best is grounded in Christianity, ordered liberty, moral restraint, and the dignity of human life. Revolutionary leftism has always treated violence as a tool for remaking your society. Sorry, that's just the history of it. And history is not subtle about this. Look at the 20th century. Lenin's regime killed millions. Stalin's killed tens of millions. Pol Pot killed between 1.5 and 2 million people. I bet you never even heard of him. Mao Zedong murdered roughly 40 to 70 million, depending on how they count them. Those were not accidents, guys. They were not unfortunate side effects. They were the logical destination of an ideology that divides people into oppressors and the oppressed, then declares the victims morally entitled to destroy the oppressors. And those numbers, guys, were normally against their own people. That's not even bringing in the math for the wars that the communists started. The left loves to cite the Crusades, which were not a killing spree on innocent people. With the numbers alone, we can safely say that the atheists of the 20th century were collectively the most brutal in history. That same moral poison is now being handed to 19-year-olds in lecture halls across America. If we want to stop the rise of political violence, we have to confront what is happening inside the university system. Not someday, but now, right now. But here's the upside. And yes, there is one. Parents are now waking up. State legislatures are defunding DEI offices. Think about it. Enrollment at many radical institutions is dropping. Students are starting to choose trade schools, military service, and community colleges over four-year ideological boot camps. The monopoly that the radical left has over higher education for the last 40 years is cracking. The conversation is long overdue, and the fact that we are finally having it loudly, publicly, without apology, that is the beginning of something very important. That conversation is long overdue. All right, so tell me what you think in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.